Boy, we are happy to have everybody here with us on the Ohio Business Spotlight. And these guys right here, I can't believe I did not have them on sooner. They are the co-owners of NetX IT Solutions. They are our IT solutions experts, and they're good at what they do. And I think that you're going to learn a lot about their story here. And I think there's going to be some takeaways. I think the takeaways, just because I work so closely with them, I've learned some of the things that they've used to navigate through some of the stuff hiding in the bushes. And I think entrepreneurs or people that are thinking about becoming business owners are going to be able to take away some stuff. So, Steve, I'm going to start out with you. Tell us, where did this idea of NetX IT Solutions come up?
Oh goodness. Well, going in the way back machine, we're gonna head back 18 years ago, where I just kind of like to play around with computers. About every job I'd ever had before that, I had gotten bored with. This was the first thing that I had ever done where I was not ever bored. It was constantly changing. There was always something happening. And why I didn't really realize that I was starting a company, I just started helping people, and it just kind of kept going from there.
Awesome. Ryan, at what point in time did you get involved with NetX Computers? How did you and Steve meet? And where did you jump in and become part of the story?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Steve and I met in, I think, December 2013, November or December of 2013. I was actually in college at the time, working on my associate's degree, and I applied for an internship. So the first time I met Steve was at my interview for the internship, um, and we've kind of just been best friends ever since. I mean, uh, I started, as an intern, worked through the internship. Um, Steve offered me a position as a network administrator. Took the position. We kind of ran things like that for 3 years or so, I think, and then he offered me a partnership in the company, and we have been just growing ever since.
Well, I tell you, I had a prepared question that was going to be related to some of the stuff that you guys do, but you touched on something, Ryan, that I want to drill down on. You talked about how close you and Steve have become in working the business. So I'm going to direct this next question at you. How important is that when you're in a partnership with somebody in a business? Business comes first, but there's trials, tribulations, there's things hiding in the bushes that jump out at you. What's one thing that has really tested not just NetX computers, but what has really tested Ryan and Steve? Ryan, you get a chance to give your version first, and Steve, then you can clean it up afterward.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have had our fair share of trials and tribulations, like every other small business owner, I'm sure. And I think that I can think of a couple different times that things have been rough, but I think one of the ones I think that were rough for both of us was, I think, our first acquisition. After the acquisition, we ran into some things that we didn't foresee, and truth be told, I think we were probably both a little naive in not doing some of the things that we should have done, or maybe placing too much trust in someone that we didn't know very well. Um, that was a rough time for us. There was, I remember times where I felt like I was going crazy with paranoia. Am I imagining this in my head? Is this, do we really need to worry about these things? What do we do? And I think one of the things that kind of defines us as a company is in that moment, what we did is we buckled down and we kept pushing, we kept moving forward. We did not get into a back and forth, or no, any kind of a battle, anything like that. We're like, you know what, we know that we're good at what we do, and we're going to continue to do that and push forward out of this, and that's exactly what we did. And since then, I think a few other issues, and things have come up that don't give you a very good warm and fuzzy feeling. But we've done the same thing and kind of just push forward and move through it. So yeah, I'll let Steve take over.
Well, Steve, he made it easy for you because he said there's only been a couple, and he just talked about one or two. Just tell us about the one other problem that you've had.
To be honest with you, Ryan has really touched on the ones that stick out to me. The thing that, kind of going back, you said something about the relationship that Ryan and I have had, and how it's really like Ryan and I are married to some degree. And it is very important before you get married to know who you're getting married to. And Ryan and I feel like both did our due diligence in that. So when those hard times came around, no matter what they were, whether it was an acquisition or it was just a difficult client, or was it, some nefarious actor, cyber attack out there that caused us grief, we work so well together, and we have the same values and the same principles. It was easy for us to know how we were going to push through. It wasn't easy to push through, but it was easy to work together as a team to get to where we wanted to be. And so, no matter what issue it is out there, it's fun to do this. Maybe not in the moment, but after the fact, it's fun to do this with good people.
Well, I tell you, you guys both touched on the relationship and some of the difficult things. And gosh, what you guys do, Steve, you brought up, cyber attacks. I'm sure we could go down a million rabbit holes there about some nefarious characters. I love your terminology that you've bumped into. So I happen to have been able to see you guys from a 10,000-foot view. And you guys have grown not just in acquisition and services that you provide, but you've grown with employees. And one of the things in the almost 20 business owners that Tony and I have talked to on this podcast, one of the things that is a common struggle is finding the right employees. Steve, I want to ask you first. What are some things that you can celebrate and say, hey, man, we figured this out and we want to share this with other business owners. Here's a magic trick that will help figure that out. And then Ryan, maybe I'll ask you to help outline some pitfalls that they might want to avoid. Steve, what's some magic that you figured out? Because your crew is big now. How many people? And tell me some of the magic.
I got to be honest with you. I feel like luck is the magic. We have been very lucky with the people that we have found. Other than that, I can say that the most important thing I have found in trying to find a good person for our organization is asking one simple question, and that is, how many tennis balls can you fit into a limousine? After that, I can make just about anything work.
Wow. All right. That's good. I like that. Ryan, what are some of the pitfalls that you guys feel qualified through tripping and falling? What are some of the pitfalls that you think you could help other business owners or people that want to be entrepreneurs avoid?
Well, there's a lot of them. That's a big question. So are we talking, finding talent wise or just in general?
Either. I'm going to let you choose whichever one you feel like you could speak more comfortably to.
Okay. I would say that, I think that across all industries right now it's a hard thing to find good talent. We have run the gamut from every kind of issue you could imagine from, employees. We've had people walk out in the middle of the day. We've had people just not show up. We've had people come in and be amazing. So we do kind of really run the gamut. And I think that to kind of go back to Steve's question, that question is very important for us. And I use the same question when I conduct the interviews because it gives us a chance to see the thought process or lack thereof in an interviewee. So one of the big things that we look for, aside from skill sets, is our culture. And I think that not paying attention to your company culture is a huge pitfall that I think a lot of entrepreneurs probably fall into.
Mm.
And that's always been something that's been very important to Steve and I, because nothing for nothing, I want to enjoy my day and I want to enjoy it with people that I enjoy being around, and, it's very cliche. Every time I'm interviewing someone, I tell them the same thing. It's very cliche to say it, but we really are like a family. I mean, we go out and hang out together. We do things outside of work together. Steve and I are always in communication for, whatever's going on in the business. I mean, that's kind of just the way it is when you're an entrepreneur. But I think that if I could pick out one pitfall to give another small business owner advice on avoiding, it would be to keep your company culture close to your heart, and make sure that the people that you're hiring are going to fit into that culture. It makes everything a lot easier, and it makes for a more enjoyable workday.
Well, you guys said family and culture, and whether you're talking to small business owners like yourself or guests that we've had on the podcast, or whether you're listening to CEO of Fortune 500 companies, I just heard one talk about that, and the employees, when he came in and he talked about a culture. It was in manufacturing, and he talked about, we're going to adopt a culture of safety, and that's going to be our primary. Everybody was kind of like, all right, how's that going to help us grow? How's that going to make us profitable? But a year later, they all understood it. And you said keeping it close to your heart. So I want you guys to know that you guys are saying and doing some of the same things that CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are doing right there. So with all of the growth that has taken place, I think I see a lot of business owners struggle with process, because it's easy when it's just Steve and Ryan doing the work. When NetX was 2 employees, maybe 3 or 4, you guys knew what each other's doing because you stood there and watched each other do it. Now that you guys have, and I know it's approaching 20 employees, if not more. How do you get a process in place to make sure that you really, even though you can't see the number of employees you have, but you are able to observe from a distance kind of what they're doing and what their performance level is? Steve, tell me about process and help some other business owners out with process.
Process is very important. When we hit 20 people, we started to fall apart a little bit, and processes were the thing that pulled us back together. With our most recent acquisition, we are now 40, and we are finding that growth requires even more processes and procedures. KPIs are also very important. Like you said, Ryan and I used to be able to just see what each other's doing. We could just talk to each other. We were right here. Everybody knew what everybody was doing. Now, there are some people I don't see for a week. I have no idea what they're doing. But you hire culture, you hire people that you trust, you work towards the KPIs, you work towards job descriptions, roles, responsibilities, and you know when things are working the way they should be. It's vital. If you can start on your processes earlier, this is better, because it's easier to build them when they're small and just keep adding and adding and adding than it is to acquire a company, double the size, and go, oh no, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Ryan, with your processes, there comes accountability, because we want a perfect world where every employee does everything that they're supposed to do. But on occasion, you bump into either a lack of performance or something like that. What type of accountability measures do you take? Because one of the things that we've uncovered is that is a real struggle for small business owners. You work so hard to find these employees, and you guys need skilled employees that bring a skill set and a set of tools to the game. There's value in what they have. Let's say you have an employee all of a sudden that just isn't getting it done. What could you say to another business owner that would help them with accountability?
Absolutely. So we have set up our processes in a way that streamlines customer acquisition through each department. And when we go through like a new client onboarding, obviously it starts with sales. Then at some point, technicians have to get involved, billing has to get involved, account management has to get involved. So when we go through these, we have a very clearly defined process for how those handoffs work. And the way that we inject accountability into it is everyone is everyone is responsible for their portions of it, and we we're doing these things. Each of these projects, we're having meetings with the multiple departments, so everybody knows what everybody's job is. Everything is documented. That's a big thing. Documenting all of those changes and who's responsible for what, and when and where. So when a ball gets dropped, it is not difficult for us to determine where it was dropped, and then how do we proceed, back from there. Um, I think that when you have multiple departments and multiple people involved in anything, then accountability happens a little bit easier because you have people that are waiting for you to complete something and you're waiting on other people to complete something. So that accountability is kind of built into that process when you build it that way. Um, we also, in terms of accountability in, say, for instance, in our bullpen, what we call our bullpen, where our technicians are. There are teams of technicians that work on specific clients. The teams hold themselves accountable. They hold each other accountable. We also have someone kind of monitoring the entire help desk system, holding everyone accountable, including myself. But I think the biggest thing is making sure that for your own self, that you have someone that's holding you accountable. If everybody makes sure that they have someone that's holding them accountable, then it just is built in, and it's not really a struggle. I think that in terms of our company, I think that we might have struggled with that a little in the beginning. But I think that since we've gotten our processes down, and like Steve said, when we started to hit 20 people, we realized a lot of things were falling through the cracks, and things were getting kind of sliding out of our control, right? And we realized, okay, we've got to do something to bring all this back in, and those processes are what did it. So if you have the right processes in place, accountability should be a part of that.
Well, I tell you, I hear a couple things right here. The wisdom to when you hit a point where process, where that you can't deal without that you can't work without processes. Number one, the accountability. It sounds like you have accountability on several levels, and it almost sounds like there's some redundancy there. Just to make sure that if the person that is accountable didn't do what he was supposed to, that the person after that. So I think there's a lot of that's a great nugget for someone to take. So as we get ready to end this right here, you guys have contributed a ton, but one thing I want you guys to talk about real quick is tell me about NetX Computers, because uh, everybody's getting a look behind the curtain right now about how this place runs. And I see you guys advertising. Whoever does your social media does a great job. I see you guys with fresh new content. I share it. And it's overwhelming sometimes to think of all the things that you guys do. I'm going to ask you guys to split this in half. And Steve, maybe tell us about half of the services that you provide. And Ryan can clean up anything that he misses. Steve, tell us about the services you provide. What does NetX Computer do for their consumer?
I'm gonna take the lesser end stuff, and I'll let Ryan take the easy stuff. So phone systems, VoIP phone systems is a big part of what we do. Those are a lot of fun. We love giving people the versatility that they need in communication. Communication is very important to us. Managed print is another thing that we're dabbling with a little bit, having some fun with the pennies and the fractions of a penny that pages cost to print. It's riveting stuff, let me tell you. We security systems, NVRs, security systems and NVRs and cameras and indoors, outdoors, all those things. Those are on the lower end of what we do, and I will let Ryan pick it up with the important things, the bulk of what we do.
Yeah, sure. So our main focus in everything we do is cybersecurity. That is how we've built all of our service packages out. Is with cybersecurity in mind, specifically with known standards and frameworks. They're all built off of NIST 800-171, which is a cybersecurity framework by the National Institute of Standards and Technology. That specific standard is also kind of leads into the other portion that I want to talk about is compliance. And that's kind of something that I head up. Everything from HIPAA compliance to just, NIST 800-171, ISO 27001, all the way up to CMMC level 1 and level 2. They're all built off of NIST 800-171. So we have configured, and I say we, Steve has done really a lot of the work in creating the packages. They have been crafted such that every service that we provide checks off a box that is required in the basic cybersecurity standard that every company should have. Not only will it check those boxes, but it will also check those boxes for your cyber liability insurance. And that's huge because every company that we deal with has a cyber liability policy. And they have, over the last few years, started requiring certain things to be in place. And so when you sign up with a computer and a user package with us, you're going to have all of the services that you need to check off every single one of those boxes. And it already gets you to a standpoint where if you do have some sort of regulatory body that or regulatory compliance that you have to adhere to, all of the software components of that and even some physical security components of that are already taken care of. It really has allowed us to kind of streamline all of our clients to where everyone is getting the same services, and these are the services that we use in house to keep our network secure. We wouldn't sell them if we didn't believe in them. So I would say that cybersecurity is our main focus. Compliance comes right along with that, but there's also a component of IT that I think we excel at that a lot of IT companies don't, and quite simply, that's customer service. We're a customer service job, essentially, first and foremost. I mean, we're dealing with problems for people every day. People are calling in and they have issues. They may not be happy because they're dealing with an issue. So we're starting the call off in a situation where we have to fix something. And we've always excelled at that, and that's one of the things our clients also always tell us. So those are, I think, without going into too much detail about the individual specific services, I think that kind of wraps it up in a nutshell.
All right, you guys, this has just been good stuff. I really feel like people have gotten to see a peek behind the curtain at NetX IT Solutions. I'm thoroughly impressed with not only where you've been, but where you are, and I've been able to watch the journey. And full disclosure, Ryan is my nephew, and he has found an incredible partner. I've been able to see his and Steve's relationship grow, and it's been a joy. So I'm going to split the duties here because we need to land this plane. Steve, if you will tell us where we can find you on social media and the internet and everywhere, and then Ryan, if you'll rattle off one or two companies that you feel like we need to have on this show because their story is incredible. Steve, take it away.
You can find us by just Googling NetX IT Solutions. We are on social media. I think NetX Online is really It's like our online handle for everything. Yeah, that's where we're at. Annex Online. AnnexOnline.net.
Yeah, good deal. You guys are easy to find. I agree. Ryan, who do we need to bring on here, brother?
Yeah, I got a couple companies in mind. I think the first one that jumps to mind is a company called Next Step Networking. They are an MSP, just like us. Very good people, very talented people, and I think that they do a good job on here. Also, a little bit closer to home is a company that we've worked with for quite a number of years on some cabling and audio video. That's a company called Custom Connections. Um, Mark over there, the owner, is a really great guy, and I'm really good friends with his top technician. So I would say those two companies right there would be fantastic.
Awesome. If you'll, after we're done, Ryan, if you'll hit me with a text with those two people's contact information, we're going to do the best we can to get them lined up. Just a joy to have you guys on. So many nuggets that I think people will take away. Keep an eye out on Reels and Facebook as we share some chunks from this right here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for Follow the Lead, Tony Miltenberger. We're sad that Tony wasn't with us today. He had something pop up at the end, so he is missed, but you guys have really, really did an incredible job. We just want to invite everybody to come back next week for next week's version of Ohio Business Spotlight. And until then, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend.
Bye, everyone.